Happy New Year, friends. How are those resolutions coming along? Don't worry, I've enlisted some friends and experts to help us set healthy habits for the days ahead. First, let's start with establishing some healthy financial habits and talking about why this just might be the perfect time to buy a house despite rising interest rates. Next, I found a new way to help my physical and emotional health at the Nashville Ballet, thanks to their adult community classes. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Then I'm excited to talk with an esthetician and nutritional skin expert for her 4 daily rituals for achieving glowing skin from the inside out. Finally, if you're still wondering what path you're supposed to be on, I'm sitting down with someone who can help us answer those hard questions. So take a deep breath and get excited for the change that is about to take place in your life, because this is the Sami Cone Show.
From the News Channel 5 Network, this is the Sami Cone Show.
The new year is a natural time to reevaluate our budgets, and so I've called on a friend and expert to help us do exactly that. Blake Scurlock, the market leader at Movement Mortgage LLC. Thank you for joining us here.
Thanks for having me.
You've got 3 tips to help us. I like to think that I help people save money, but you've got 3 tips that can really help us. And the first is to set a household budget. That can be overwhelming for some people. What do we need to focus on?
I mean, we need to go through and just start small, mapping out what our expenses are and trying to go through and plan so that we can fit everything in. It's really hard this year with inflation and appreciation in the housing market to be able to go through and pay for groceries, and so going through and having a plan is half the battle.
Yeah, absolutely. How can people adjust for that when we don't know what's happening with the market or in the rates and such?
So it's the best thing to do is to go through and historically look and see what you have done. Try to plan out, this is what I spent last month in food and utilities, and be able to go through and do that so that you have a plan for your money.
Sure, sure. And another way you say is to keep the debt low, right? Easier said than done.
Yes. I mean, so last quarter we had the highest increase in consumer debt in the past 15 years. And people are going through and they're financing the increased cost of groceries and gas and everything else. And so being able to go through and keep debt low is helpful to future household budgets, but it also helps credit scores. It makes borrowing easier and cheaper in the long run.
I'm glad you said that, because sometimes people can't afford to save as much as they want, but then they're spending money in fees. So if they could just eliminate that debt.
Correct. I mean, it's money that's going to the bank instead of to your household bottom line.
Yeah. Well, that's I'm glad you said that, because that's important for people to realize. You also talk about reviewing our financial picture with a financial professional. That can be hard for people to know who to trust, especially with something as delicate as money.
Sure.
What should people be? What are the questions people should be asking?
I mean, the number one thing is to try to go and find somebody who's reputable. There are tons of review services out there that are online, and trying to pick someone that has had experience with friends. No one, at least for the past year, has wanted to go in and look at their investment accounts. I'm one of them. I've wanted to go through and bury my head in the sand. However, it's important to go through and pay attention to and look at. If you have money that's in the market, we're in a different market than what we were 2 years ago. The world's changed, and so it may be wise to go through and get some fresh perspective, and make sure that you're invested in the right stuff.
Yeah, I would be remiss if I let you go without talking about that current housing market. I mean, I feel like everyone's saying don't buy because the rates have been rising so much. You have some different advice.
I do. So obviously, we've had an incredible amount of appreciation in Nashville. For the past couple of years, it's been difficult to get into a house with rates as low as they are. Right now is a great time to buy because we can go through and rates are temporary. They go up and down, and so you always have the ability to go through and refinance a loan later. But you can go through and you can get seller concessions to be able to offset some of the higher interest rates, and frankly be able to sleep on a decision before you make a big purchase, a huge purchase.
Yeah,
so,
I never thought of that until I had a friend say, look, there's not as much competition.
Yes.
We're not having to, give our left arm to get a house. And like you said, there's that reciprocal working more.
For the past 2 years, it's been a scenario where you needed to know what you wanted.
Right.
And if you weren't ready to act on it, it was going to go.
Yeah.
And so now you can actually be picky. And for a lot of buyers, that's way more important than what the rate is.
It's so true. This has been great advice. I know we could have talked about so much more. We're going to have all of this on samicone.com. If you have more questions or want to get in touch with Blake, we'll link you there. Thank you for helping us start the new year right. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it. If you're looking for a new way to get fit, feel better, or just start moving more in the new year, come with me as I jump into the community adult classes here at the Nashville Ballet. When you think of the Nashville Ballet, it's really the premier dance company here in Nashville. So I think some people have hesitancy, especially as an adult, to walk through the doors.
I definitely agree. You think Nashville Ballet, you're thinking elite, premier, non-accessible. We're the absolute opposite of that. So we are completely communal. We are accessible. We want you to come in the door. We want you just to try us out.
Nashville Ballet has been a space for the community to come and to express themselves non-verbally. No matter what that is for you, if it's through dance, if it's through movement, we don't just have ballet here. We have contemporary, we have classes that are for dancers who just want to come and just experience ballet without the restrictions of I'm trying to go and dance in a professional ballet company. We allow it to be something that's accessible for all people.
I've heard so many great things about Dance Fix. I mean, it's more than just a dance class. Can you give us a little insight before you kind of put me through the steps?
Yes, so Dance Fix is definitely more than a dance class. It is a community of just lovely souls who honestly participate in dance therapy. That's what it is, movement-based therapy. Dance Fix in itself is a high-intensity dance fitness class. I would deem it as technical yet accessible, but I think the craze is that you come and you're like, what is this? And you leave out smiling and like, what just happened? We're like, the Dance Fix happened to you. You just got fixed.
So if someone's just wanting to start out, especially in the new year, maybe with a new goal of just trying to, get in touch with their body, do that, do you feel like there's a barrier?
We have newcomers all the time and they're like, what is this? And we were just like, just come on in and experience it. The getting fit part, once you experience it once, becomes secondary. I think it's the community piece. So we definitely have built a culture of no judgment. Everybody can dance.
I'm going to be a little sweatier probably the next time you see me on camera, but I'm here for it. Okay, let's go try it. Let's go.
Let's get ready.
Okay, we are 40 minutes into Dance Fix. We've done Bollywood, we've done flapper, we've done ballet, we've done contemporary. There is no signs of stopping. I do not have all the moves, but I'm having fun and I'm still sweating. This is the best way to get a workout that I've done in a long time. Take a look. For adults specifically, you think you get to a certain age and there's nowhere to dance.
One of the beautiful things about Nashville Ballet is that it evolves.
I've heard that, but now I've experienced it to be true, that the movement is what's important, not so much the precision, not so much the exact steps. What separates an introduction to ballet versus an intermediate or an advanced for people that have danced or haven't danced?
Well, I think it's a place of allowing yourself to be humble, and know that this is a school. And the beautiful thing about school is that you come here to learn. And if you have an openness to learn, an openness to make mistakes, which is human, then come here, because we are a place that we want to train, we want to teach, but we also want people to find their own way. Because your dancing experience is going to be different from mine, and anyone who's watching, they're going to have their own. And we appreciate the fact that you as an individual, you come here with some knowledge, but you also come here with, and hopefully, a hunger and a thirst to learn something different. I think that's one of the greatest things about our community is that it's full of people who are also very hungry and just open to the fact that this is all a space for us just to be together.
So regardless of what you come to the class with, or if you've moved or haven't moved, what can people expect when they come to a ballet class?
A space for them just to be themselves. where they are right now at this moment. You can't give anything that you don't have. We want people to know that when they come, they are valued, they are respected. This is a space that is open and there's not a lot of judgment. We all come in here, I think we all come in here thinking that dance has to be a certain way, it has to look a certain way, but we really go into what does it feel like. And so if it feels good for you, then you're doing the right thing.
It's refreshing to be able to come in and allow someone to teach you how to move in a new way in this new body. Whether you've moved in a while or haven't moved in a while, whether it's the new year or your new year. And while I wouldn't recommend maybe taking multiple classes in one night like I am, there's a ton of classes to experience here at the Nashville Ballet, and I know you'll find one that works for you. I can't wait to take this next one. Thank you.
Thank you.
What would your message be to someone that's a little bit on the fence about, can I do this? Is this for me?
Yeah, I would just say, come on in, it is for you.
Come on out.
Having now experienced 3 different classes here at the Nashville Ballet, Dance Fix, Intro to Ballet, and Beginner Ballet, my word of advice would be to not rush the process. Even if you've danced before, I recommend starting at the ground level. That way you can take your time learning the moves, learning the style, familiarizing yourself with the terms, even refamiliarizing yourself with the type of dance that's offered. So whether you've danced before or trying it again or have never even moved like this, starting at the ground level is really going to benefit you. Whether you're a trained former professional dancer, took some classes when you were younger, or have never danced at all, there is a class here for you. If you're ready to see what the community adult classes are all about, your first class is just $5, but I guarantee you're going to want to keep coming back for more. Whether you're 2 or 102, everyone can benefit from the variety of movement, the education, and most of all, the community that is experienced here. If you're looking for more information or are ready to sign up for your first class, head to NashvilleBallet.com. If your skin is feeling dry, tight, or just not quite right, the key may be what you're putting into your body and not what you're putting onto it. I'm joined by Geri G, an esthetician, and really you're so much more. How do you describe what it is you do?
I really am more specialized in skin health wellness. So one of the things that we're going to talk about today is really about how everyone can start incorporating their skin own health wellness.
I love it.
So
you've got 4 points we're going to talk about, and the first is eat to sleep.
Eat to sleep.
Talk about that.
We want to talk about, putting ourselves back on a sleep schedule as if when we were babies. Okay, so it really starts with starting your day kind of backwards, thinking more about how you're going to time your meals by when you want to go to bed.
Okay.
So we want 4 hours of digestion time. So in the morning, we want to start our day kind of pushing our breakfast out a little bit because we want to kind of push our fast from the detox. So starting your day more with a green drink that has detoxifying nutrients like wheatgrass, spirulina, algae, those sort of things are going to cleanse the system but give us energy and then carry us through lunchtime.
And you say that should be our biggest meal.
Well, biggest meal for lunchtime, yes,
Yeah.
because the brain wants the most amount of protein at lunchtime.
Interesting.
Okay, and the brain needs vitamins and minerals and protein.
Okay.
So I like to my clients to start with, something like a meal replacement shake if they're on the run and they don't have time to kind of make something.
Okay.
And so you want something that has at least 20-25 grams of protein. I love pea protein milk, 8 grams of protein. Having something that really inspires you to feel like you're not craving, you're not looking for spikes in your insulin level.
And then dinner is more
needs to be
veggies and
veggies,
okay.
light bone broth. We want to exchange starchy like pastas and lentils with things that are sprouted and hearts of palm pasta, or excuse me, yes, and with bone broth.
Okay.
And then we want to go to water.
Water flushes.
It flushes. So you're talking about how we want to detox in the morning from the detox nighttime. So we want to have at least 32 ounces before lunch, 32 ounces after, and then jazz it up with a little cucumber, ginger, silica. Add that to your water so it doesn't feel so boring.
That's such a great tip. Now, I love this tip about don't over-exercise.
Right.
We think we need to exercise to
Right.
lose weight, but some of us overdo it.
They don't realize that over-exercising can raise your cortisol. Cortisol then raises insulin. That makes us stop burning fat. Fat is actually where the toxins are. So we want to detox all through the day by burning fat. We do that just by mobility. Just by walking will help us do more for our health than really over-exercising, feeling like we have to burn everything off. It's really, you don't want to go into a sugar burn, stay in fat burn, keep it low.
See, my kids make fun of me for walking snacking every day. Jerry
Right?
says to do it. It's what to do.
It really is easy.
And this final important tip,
Yes.
what can we eat for stronger skin?
So stronger skin, we're looking for foods that have more L-proline, which is an
Okay.
amino acid that actually has collagen. So we want our bodies to start improving all up by itself, but feeding it. So mushrooms, bone broth, beef bone broth, actually, if you don't have a hunk of meat, you can have your bone broth, and that same thing. Fermented foods help our gut, and we need good digestion from good probiotics, balance the bacteria, autoimmune system, our immunity will build up from that. Having dark leafy vegetables, having things that have more color, again, free radical scavengers. We want to increase the ATP inside of the cell. That's what de-ages us. If we focus more on how to keep our cells healthy, we will be healthier.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think what I love about what you talk about, we just have a minute left, but you're adding good. This isn't all
Right.
about depriving yourself.
No.
The foods that I've tried, even that you've shown me, they taste good. It's all about kind of, letting your
Yeah.
body know we're not starving ourselves,
No.
we're not overworking ourselves. So what's that final tip that you would
Don't
leave?
starve yourself, because that actually will cause your body to stop burning fat. People think that burning fat is all about weight loss. It's not. Fat is where our toxins are stored in the fat cell. We want to continuously detox through the day by moving, by eating foods that are clean. Stay away from processed foods. Stay away from artificial foods, and you'll be good.
Thank you so much.
welcome.
Goodness, we could talk all day.
I know.
Make sure to head to GeriGBeauty.com for more tips and all the incredible things that Geri offers. I've learned so much from you, and I know everyone else has
Thanks
as
so
well.
much. It's
Thanks
been
for
fun.
joining us
Okay.
today. For the month of January, Geri is offering viewers of the Sami Cone Show a complimentary skin analysis consultation at her Franklin location. Call 615-538-7173 to see results in real time and learn more about what you can do to improve your skin health. If you've ever had a season where you've maybe felt not good enough, maybe you don't know what you're called to do, or just have even questioned God, you are not alone. My next guest has been there and is going to walk us through some of those questions as well. Phil, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Great to be here, Sammy.
Thank you for joining us. You've done a lot in your life, but what you're doing now with Reality Co. is really interesting. Can you just give our audience a little backstory on how you got to where you are at a time where you weren't sure where you were going?
Yeah, I was a pastor for 20 years, and it just was really in the season where I was just questioning what was next. And so I just began just pleading and praying, and all of a sudden, my wife asked me one day, said, what would you do if God let you do whatever you wanted? And I just said, I think it's called Reality Co, and I think it has something to do with blessing offer. So all I knew,
That's
knew
all we need to
nothing
know.
else. I mean, and so we just started running with that, and just it kind of like was developing, it was changing, we were experimenting, and where it really landed was kind of building something out of my pain, and to see how do I use this and steward what I was given to help others to find safe places when they're navigating their own struggles with themselves, with their backgrounds, with their faith, with the world that's going on around us.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, because I think so often we think because something hard is happening to us, or because something sad is happening to us, we're doing something bad, or we're down the wrong path, when really that is sometimes what we need to be able to navigate to the path that God is calling us to. What advice do you have for people that are just like, that's good for you, Phil, but you don't know what I'm going through?
You know, for me, it really was this moment where I had to get really, really honest for the first time in my life. Honest about where I was at, honest about what I really felt. And so like when I work with people, one of the first things I tell them is like, I want you to get brutally honest with as the most frank language you can with God, and to just say, this is how I feel towards you. This is how I feel about my situation. And then I always teach them to do this, and then tell him, meet me here. You see, there's something that happens, it's true of our relationships with one another, that when we go through hardship, and we see someone at our ugliest moments and not bat an eye, and still walk beside us and love us, there's a depth of intimacy that we never experience apart from those moments. And so just be real with him.
Yeah. And I think, I'm so glad you said that. I think as Christians, so often we try to put it on. We try to put on the face. So, okay, let's say we have the brave, the courage to do that with God, right? That's one thing that a lot of people are like, I can't do that, and say that to God. Well, how do you then find someone to do that to, like you? Because you say you're that triangle, I think. What do you always say? It's so good between...
So kind of like the space between a pastor, counselor, and a manager.
There you go. Okay, so how do people find a you in their life? You know, if they've done that with God, then how do they have that to say, I'm ready to do this with another human being?
I think you can pick up on real. Like you pick up when someone feels really authentic.
Yeah.
You know, typically there's someone who's been through something.
Yeah.
And they made it on the other side. So, you know, I often describe what I do as being a spiritual Sherpa. You know, I love all things cold.
Yeah.
So at least reality shows. And I know we used to watch that Everest show, and these Sherpas, they would go and take these people on the craziest journey of their life and help them to try to navigate it and make it back. And the reason they could, because they were there once themselves.
Yeah.
And were able to make it back.
good.
So they could give them tools, they could give them the best routes to go. But at the end of the day, they couldn't guarantee anything. They said, this is the best way.
Yeah, that's good. And I think, you know, we have just a minute left. When you're trying to think about how real can I be? You know, we talk about even within the Christian, we're in music and whatever, in the pastorship, we're still people. How do you just take that mask off? What's the first step? You know, you've met God, you try to find someone. What's that check then to say, okay, this is really me?
You know, I think it's really just understanding grace. Does God really unconditionally loving me no matter where I'm at? And when you really begin to live that, you can begin to be free. Because I'm not worried about putting up a face for Sami or for anybody else.
Yeah.
I'm really beginning to see, like, the more I get in tune with who I've been created to be, who I am in Him, I'm beginning to be free in my life. And I think freedom is so compelling for other people.
That's so good.
And you can see, when you get around free people, you're going to feel it.
Yep. Where can people find out more?
You can find out more at realitycode.org.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Sami.
We pray that wherever you are in your journey, that you will first of all be real with God and then reach out. It's never too late to be true to who you are. Thank you, Phil, for joining us
Thanks so much,
today.
Sami.
Appreciate it. Before I go, I need you to know to look around. We've spent a lot of time on today's show focusing on how we can improve our own lives, but let's not forget to use our strengths to help and support those around us. There are several instances in the Bible where it asks for our eyes to be open and our ears to be attentive to the prayers being offered. As we wrap up today, I pray that we are more aware of the needs in our neighborhoods and the simple ways we can lend a hand. Keep in mind, that may mean we need to pause, listen, and look around. I don't know about you, but I'm more inspired than ever to make positive changes in my life. I hope you'll join me this month in committing daily to make healthy choices that not only benefit us as individuals, but everyone we care about as well. I hope you have a great day. Make sure you make it great, and do not wait to tell someone you love how you feel about them. Bye, friends.